Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Professor Ipshita Bansal from BPS Women's University, Sonipat. Today, we are going to talk about the module Communicating Assertively from the paper Business Communication. By the end of this module, students will be able to understand first the concepts related to assertive communication, second, the techniques of assertive communication, third, transformational assertiveness, and fourth, the skill of communicating assertively. Benito Juarez, former president of Mexico for 5 terms, stated that between people, as among nations, respect for each other's rights ensures the peace. Assertiveness is the ability of an individual to honestly express their feelings, attitudes, opinions, and rights in a way that respects the rights of others also. Communicating assertively means politely expressing the feelings or viewpoint without being too passive or too aggressive. This communication skill is very important and useful as it is based on mutual respect of the parties involved. Assertive communication helps in avoiding resentment, frustration, anxiety, and avoidance. So let's now define what is assertive communication. According to Alberti and Emmons, behavior which enables a person to act in his or her own best interest, to stand up for herself or himself without undue anxiety, to express honest feelings comfortably, or to exercise personal rights without denying the rights of others, we call assertive behavior. Often, we come across people who are not able to protect their interests and always speak or behave as other people expect them to. Such people are depicting passive or submissive behavior. On the other hand, there are people who are only concerned with protecting their own interests and impose their will on others, without considering their needs also. Such people are depicting aggressive behavior. Both passive, submissive, and aggressive behavior reduce effectiveness in personal as well as professional space. Most effective behavior is assertive behavior. In the first picture, we see that the subordinate is asking the boss permission to attend the assertiveness training, to which the boss refuses and says no. The subordinate with the bowed head accepts the response of the boss and says okay. From the picture, we can see that the subordinate is really in need of the assertiveness training as he is adopting passive communication style. In the second picture, we see a man is asking a woman, "Are you assertive?" To which the woman is asking the opinion of the man regarding the issue. That is, what do you think? She is not sure of herself. Her communication style is also passive communication style. In the third picture, we see that a woman is asking another woman about the quality of the soup she has cooked, although the other woman, that is the speaker of the question, doesn't like the soup. She replies that it is good. As a consequence, she will have to drink the whole bowl of soup and suffer in silence because she engages in passive communication and in actual case she doesn't like the soup at all. In the fourth picture, a woman is saying that's okay, but thinking that she didn't want it. She lacks the courage to express her viewpoint truthfully. In the fifth picture, we see candidates sitting in a classroom to attend assertiveness training. On the board, the spelling of assertiveness is written wrong, and the participants know it but do not have the courage to point it out to the instructor and are asking each other to inform the trainer. All these are the examples of passive communication style. This type of style is adopted when one is unable to stand for one's rights. While expressing his feelings, the person is cautious and apologetic. In the case of conflict, the person with this style will not be able to protect his or her rights and will be taken for granted due to not having the ability or willingness to take a stand. People with passive communication style give out a message that they do not think that their own views are also important. It helps people to escape anxiety and keep peace. Always accepting others' views, even if one does not actually agrees with them, or not being able to say no to commands or requests also come under passive communication style. Passivity in communication leads to feeling of anger, resentment, victimization, and wanting revenge, which ultimately leads to lot of stress and health problems. This is not an effective style of communication. In the first picture, we see a man is intimidating another person and almost pushing him against the wall by talking down to him with a pointed finger. The person is talking aggressively, and the person who's listening is a passive communicator. In the second picture, we see a woman stopping a man from talking by gesturing by her hand to stop while looking away from him, indicating that what she has said is the final word and the discussion is closed. The woman is the aggressive communicator and the other person is passive communicator. In the third picture, we see two people looking at each other with dislike and adamancy, not ready to give in to other person's views or needs. Here, both are aggressive communicators. In the fourth picture, we see an individual extremely angry and projecting a threatening body language. Such a stand will not result in effective communication. In all the four above situations, effective communication is not possible, and the likelihood of achieving win-win scenario is almost impossible, as aggressive communication style is adopted. In this style, the person stands up aggressively for their rights and are likely to violate other people's rights. Aggressive communication style may make one believe that one can get what one wants by being aggressive. But such communication style is not sustainable, as this reduces mutual trust and respect. People adopting aggressive communication style express their feelings and emotions in an inappropriate way, even though they may be aware that they are wrong. They impose their views on others, which is likely to result in hurting the feelings of others. This ultimately leads to loss of stress for both the parties and deterioration of the relationship. This also is not an effective style of communication. In the first picture, we see a lady standing upright with a calm and pleasant expression on her face, looking very much in control of the situation. C is depicting assertive body language. In the second picture, we see two people talking in harmony with each other on equal terms. None of the two are engaged in either passive or aggressive communication. In the third picture, we see a small group of people discussing some matter, again in a relaxed and non-threatening atmosphere where no one is engaged in aggressive or passive communication. All the members of the group are talking on equal terms. In the fourth picture, there is a depiction of the statement, "I disagree," by a person, but with a firm but pleasant demeanor. The ability to communicate disagreement or refusal in a proper way is a very important aspect of communication. All the above four pictures show assertive communication style. This style is the balancing position between the two styles of passive and aggressive communication. It is an empathetic way of communicating with people. People adopting assertive communication style stand up for their rights without violating the rights of other people. In this style, person expresses viewpoint openly, honestly, politely, but firmly. People with self-confidence, high self-esteem, and knowledge about the situation or subject they are talking about adopt this style of communication. Assertive communication style results in creating win-win situations, improved decision makings, earning respect from others, and developing long-term fruitful relationships with people. This is the most effective style of communication. Let's now summarize the comparison between passive, aggressive, and assertive communicating styles. When the base is need satisfaction, passive communicators do not consider one's own needs as important. Aggressive communicators believe that only own need is important and other people's needs are not important. Assertive communicators believe that one's own needs are important as well as the needs of other people are also important. As far as action orientation is concerned, passive communicators act as per the needs and demands of others to the extent of being bullied by others. Aggressive communicators act only for one's benefit to the extent of bullying others. Assertive communicators act to balance one's own as well as others' benefit. As far as patterns of speech are concerned, passive communicators do not speak much, and so they do not have the ability of being heard. Aggressive communicators do not let others speak, whereas assertive communicators speak one's own views also with clarity and confidence, as well as listen to others' viewpoints also. As far as value orientation is concerned, valuing peace at the cost of self-interest is the motive of passive communicators. Aggressive communicators value self-interest at the cost of peace. Assertive communicators value fairness for both the parties, and for them, interest as well as peace both are important. As far as relationships are concerned, passive communicators damage relationships because other people respect you less. Aggressive communicators also damage relationships because other people do not like aggression. On the other hand, assertive communicators enhance relationships because Other people know where they stand vis-a-vis assertive communicators and are confident that mutual needs will be satisfied. As far as self-esteem is concerned, passive communicators damage their own self-esteem. Aggressive communicators damage other people's self-esteem. And assertive communicators build and maintain one's own self-esteem as well as other people's self-esteem. Communicating assertively is not an easy task, but it can be learned. First of all, a person needs to have the clear understanding about oneself and one's viewpoint. This understanding of oneself develops the self-confidence required for assertive communication. People who communicate assertively get easily into win-win situation by finding the common ground. People can better solve the problem by communicating in this manner. People having the assertive communication skills are calm and in control of the situation as they have the confidence in their potential to handle the situations. So, what are the barriers to assertive communication? People are not able to assert themselves when they feel that they do not have certain rights. Secondly, they are anxious or fearful of the other parties. And third, they feel that do not possess the skills or actually do not possess the skills of assertive communication. So it is very important to develop assertive communication skills to be an effective communicator. Let's now discuss assertive communication techniques. First technique is introspect about your own communication style. As a communicator, you should introspect about your own style, whether you are aggressive, that is trying to dominate the conversations, are people scared of you while you talk, or whether you are passive, that is, you never put up your own viewpoint, always accept others' viewpoint, etc. After such objective introspection, effort should be made to develop assertive communication skills. Second, be clear about the objective of the communication. If a person is not clear about what outcome he or she wants as a result of the communication, he or she cannot be assertive. So, you should be clear about the objective of the communication to be able to state clearly what you want to say. Third, do prior preparation of communication. It is always a good practice to prepare or rehearse the communication beforehand if the matter to be talked about is important and sensitive. Also, rehearsing beforehand is advisable if communicating with a specific person is stressful. Fourth, use clear and precise language. A speaker should use clear words and language which the audience can easily understand. Also, to be assertive, it is important that language should be precise and crisp to convey the clear message. Also, use well-modulated voice tone while communicating. Fifth, make use of I statements. In order to communicate assertively, person should make use of the I statement like I want, I feel, I think, etc. to convey the viewpoint assertively. The seventh technique for communicating assertively is apprise the other party of consequences. When the first attempt you are not able to express your viewpoint assertively, then you should get firm the next time. For example, when one of your office staff reaches late to the office, then on the second or third instance, you should remind the staff about the negative consequences the employee will face if the mistake is repeated, to make your point clear. Eighth technique is communicate only when you are emotionally stable. When a person is highly emotional, then it is not possible to convey one's viewpoint clearly and firmly. So, whenever you are angry, sad, or under the influence of any form of extreme emotion, you should postpone communicating till the time thoughts are settled, or ask the other person to have the communication at a more appropriate time. Ninth technique is repeating the statement. During a conversation, if the receiver of the message is not listening to you, then you should repeat the same statement again and again to make the other person understand that you really mean what you are saying. The 10th technique is scripting. This technique involves preparing of responses using the approach of describing the following. First, the event. Inform the other person how you see the situation or problem. For example, Milan, the production costs this month are 20% higher than average. You didn't give me any indication of this, which meant that I was completely surprised by the news. Second, script your feelings. Clearly state how you are feeling in a situation to put your point across. For example, this frustrates me and makes me feel like you don't understand or appreciate how important financial controls are in the company. Third, script your needs. Clearly state your needs so that there is no confusion in the mind of the other person. For example, you tell your team, I need you all to be fully focused on the task at hand and postpone any plans of taking leave till the time this project is wrapped up. Fourth, the consequences. Describe the positive outcome if your needs are fulfilled. For example, you tell your team, I'm here to help you and support you in any way I can. If you trust me, then together we can achieve the targets. The eighth technique of assertive communication is using appropriate body language. Communication isn't just verbal. The body language plays an important role. While talking, your facial expressions should reflect how you are feeling: angry, sad, irritated, or delighted. Maintain upright posture, firm eye contact, steady voice, and confidence while communicating. The 12th technique is receive criticism and compliments positively. You should accept other people's remarks, whether positive or negative, with open mind without being either sad or aggressive. After making mistakes, don't hesitate to apologize or take help. The next technique is learn to say no. You should not accept just anything or everything said or demanded by others. Learn to say no to demands and requests which are beyond your limits or put unfair pressure on you. The 14th and the last technique is start with low risk situations. This is very important. Practice the newly learned assertive style of communication in low risk situations with friends or acquaintances before practicing it in high risk situations like communicating with seniors at workplace. Many people, when trying out assertive behavior for the first time, go too far and become aggressive. Take the needed time and observe actions. Practice and ask for feedback from trusted friends or colleagues. Let's now understand and discuss traditional versus transformational assertiveness. we have understood about the techniques of assertive communication. We have to consider whether we need something more than the techniques to be assertive. According to Charles M. Lyons, the traditional approach to assertiveness is emotion neutral, rational, and uses standard techniques of assertive communication. That is why it can sometimes be difficult to make this approach heard in difficult or emotional circumstances. Also, from the viewpoint of an aggressive person, the traditional approach to assertiveness may come across as weak. But from the viewpoint of a passive person, it may come across as overly strong or even aggressive. Lyons has suggested the use of transformational assertiveness, where the communicator seeks to mold his or her emotions and behavior as per the demands of the situation and context, instead of applying standardized and neutral model of assertive communication, claiming applicability in every situation. Assertiveness is a fluid and changeable concept. It may look and sound different in different situations. Sometimes the situation may be such that the communicator, to control the situation, may have to assert himself by being aggressive, thus adopting assertive aggressive style. In another situation, the communicator, to control the situation, may have to assert himself by being passive, thus adopting assertive passive style. Using transformational assertiveness. To use transformational assertiveness effectively, you need to first understand how others prefer to interact with you. There are four main ways in which people can interact with you. First, as takers. They will use an aggressive approach where the taker wins and you lose. As givers. They will use passive approach where the giver loses and you win. As swappers. They will use an assertive approach where the swapper seeks win-win outcomes through the use of balanced, objective, and logical approaches. As sharers, where they use assertive approach where the sharer seeks win-win outcomes by directly tapping into and effectively using the emotions and behaviors inherent in a situation. Each of the above types of interactions are best addressed by the following types of assertive response to achieve win-win situation for both the parties. Takers are best responded to by an assertive aggressive style of transformational assertiveness to keep their tendency of being pushy in check. Givers are best responded to by an assertive passive style of transformational assertiveness to enabling them to put forward their views, needs, and wants. Swappers are best responded to by traditional assertiveness approach using various techniques as per the needs of the situation. Sharers are best responded to by a number of assertiveness styles depending on the situation and the context by understanding the emotional state and the behavior of the person and tapping in your own emotions to control the situation effectively. So let's now understand the formula for assertive communication. The most effective way for assertive communication can be the following, where first part is when you say I feel. Second part is when you say when and describe the situation. Third part is when you say what I would like you to do is. For example, I feel really disappointed when, despite being the senior-most person of your team, you don't take the responsibility to work towards the agreed upon plan for improving the performance of the branch. What I would like you to do is be the leader of your team and coach them by your own example how to bring about the changes in the work methods and work as per the plan agreed upon so that we can achieve the goals. The first part of the statement, I feel, starts the statement on an assertive note, being firm enough to state one's feeling about the situation. So, taking it out of the area of passivity. Also, by starting with self and not the other person, the possible aggression in the statement is also controlled. The next part of the statement, when, needs to be very specific. In the statement, the speaker clearly and precisely states what the listener does which is not appropriate and needs to be changed. The last part of the statement, what I would like you to do, again very clearly and precisely tells the listener what he needs to do. The last part of the statement is very important because an assertive communicator not only highlights the problem but also suggests what should be the action plan to solve the problem. Let's discuss now the advantages of communicating assertively. Communicating assertively reflects your self-confidence and high self-esteem. Your feelings, needs, and wants are more likely to be understood. It increases your convincing power. It projects dignity and calmness in your dealings with others. It helps you to gain freedom from internal conflicts. It helps you to feel empowered and not unjustly controlled by others. It helps you in minimizing stress in interpersonal communications. Communicating assertively also helps you in earning respect from others. It creates a win-win situation for parties involved in communication process. It improves your decision-making skills. It helps you forming balanced relationships with others. And lastly, it helps you to achieve your goals. So students, now let us summarize what we have understood in this module. In our personal as well as professional spaces, communicating effectively is very important for achieving goals and developing and maintaining relationships. The styles of communication can be passive, aggressive, or assertive. Effectiveness of communication is largely dependent on being able to adopt assertive communication style because if one is assertive, one can express oneself clearly as well as appreciate others' point of views also. Assertive communication indicates that one is confident, empathetic, and in control of the situation. Assertive communication can be learned by continuous practice following certain guidelines if the person is willing. Thank you.